if you don't have the capital to start a business, you might have to borrow that money to start a business. And you might have to take the chances of starting a business that failed and ending up with that debt to repay.
Right.
But that's the way that you break that, cycle. And if you look at all of these successful people, I mean, Trump said him get a small loan of $1 million US. The fact is that he got a loan.
Exactly.
And
so did Bezos, who got the 30 grand from his parents and everything there.
So if you don't have a parent to give you, or a family or a friend to give you some money to, do a startup, you might have to just get a job, get a bank loan, and while you're working on your business.
Right. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Faded Conversations. Today we're going to talk about money in its truest form. How we learned about money from our parents, what we wish we learned earlier, what we're going to teach our kids about money, and how we can actually make money by having no money. Like what kind of investments you can do, what kind of savings you can put in place, what is really going to be the difference between the life you want to live now and what you want to do later. Let's talk about money. Cool. Okay, so one of the things that keeps coming up in this conversation about building wealth is saving. Like we heard from different people in the shop earlier, and they mentioned to us that they have to have the discipline to save money every month, and that is really what they use to try and do anything that they needed to do with life. And I feel like that is what we're taught at a very young age, but we're not really necessarily taught about investing and getting returns on that investment. Because if we're being very serious, bank interest is not really a lot of interest, and neither is putting it under your mattress. That's no interest. So, what kind of pushed you down the path of looking down investments? Because I definitely think that's probably the difference between actually building the wealth and having it just sit there.
Well, when you talk about wealth and wealth creation, I mean, as you're rightfully say, we are taught, my grandmother teach me to save. It's a very good principle in terms of saving, but you save and you save. How long are you going to save for? You cannot save to become a millionaire.
Exactly.
Right?
That's the fact.
The fact is that if you don't use your savings to create another stream of income, if you don't use your savings to invest, then your savings, you will just go in your bank account and consume that savings.
Exactly.
And the fact is that when you just have cash sitting there and you don't have any form of income coming in, that cash will one day you're just gonna get up and use that cash.
And the fact is that a very important point to mention is that cash is also probably devaluing over time.
Exactly.
So you can save what you probably would have been saving.
You have inflation looking at. You have the devaluation of the currency looking at. Your cash is in the bank account. There might be fees that the bank is charging. The interest rate is single digit. At the end of the day, for me, I mean, I remember at one point, I would manage my income and expenses on an Excel, and I would at one point say to myself, I feel like I'm eating out too much, and I was actually going to cut back on eating out so that I could save more money. And then it clicked to me, why am I cutting my expenses, right, to fit within that box.
Current box.
Right? And what came to me is, why don't I just open a new tab in the Excel and say other income, so that I can eat what I want to eat, can go the places what I want to go, because that's freedom. When you can get up and you can go to a restaurant, when you can get up and you can travel somewhere, that's what you live life for. That's real freedom. And to create that freedom, you need different income streams to take care of different expenses.
Agreed.
And from that, I keep on creating a new tab. There's a new expense, I find a new income to take care of that expense.
Yeah, but the same thing I said earlier, people look at additional income stream as it has to be millions and millions of dollars. You have to do, it really just has to cover that. You think of a bill or think of something that you want to do and make sure that this income stream covers that. And there's a whole heap of power in that. And if you have multiples of those, then you do multiples of things.
And the fact is that, as I said before, you can still have your 9 to 5.
Yeah.
You don't have to go and start a business. You can have your 9 to 5, you can save and you can then invest your savings. You can invest in the stock exchange, you can invest in a startup, you know, there's so many things that you can do. You can see an opportunity to invest in somebody who has a talent that will, you know, give you some return at some point. But the thing is, when it comes to risk, generally people are afraid to take risk. Right. When you save that $100,000, they're like, shit.
This is not to this 100 grand. No, that's that for me.
I spent the last 6 months saving this $100,000. Right now, I'm going to invest it and lose it. I'm going back at square one. But at the end of the day, if you don't invest it, you're going to be forever, you know, at that point of trying to save to get financial freedom.
That 100 grand
save yourself to financial freedom.
Exactly. A lot of people trying to get the money just to say that they have some money. Think about what you want to do with it first, and then say, all right, cool. Let us say, all right, you want to travel. This trip is going to be $1,000 US. How can I create an income that's going to eventually be able to build me up to that point? Because a lot of us get caught in the trap of, and I'm looking to the camera when I say, which camera am I looking at? If you have your savings account and you have access to your savings account every day and you're dipping into your savings account every day, you're going backwards with it. Because a lot of us are saying, all right, cool, we get paid to our savings account. We just, I'm going to try to save 10 grand in this, and then something comes up and then boom, you kind of take from that 10 grand right away. Make sure the money is not as easily accessible as just literally taking it from your account, because you're going to save 10 grand now, you take 20 grand later, and so you're going to put that back. Will you ever really put it back? Like, all of those kind of things have a role to play in how effectively you do it. Yeah, having the money accessible is one thing that we spoke about, where you have access to your lunch money and you know, say, all right, you decide how you want to spend it, because liquidity is very important too. I won't tell anybody that being liquid is not important, but boy, you kind of have to be very
true. And I don't want to give people false hope to say that you're going to save $50,000 and then you're going to invest it and then you're going to become financially free.
No.
Right? Because it's not as simple as that, right? You have to strategically invest in things that's going to create long-term value.
Right.
Investing is not next year I have some money, right? You know, for me personally, the investments that I made at 24 years old, it's when I'm in my 30s now, 32, that I'm seeing the returns of those investments. So we have to get in the mindset that this is a medium to long term, and it's a game of patience, right? You can't think that you're going to flip 100,000 and flip, and that's how it works. It doesn't work that way. You have to create value through things that you invest in. Be consistent. You have to buy a stock. Hold that stock, and just know that 10 years from now, that 100,000 going worth $1 million. But if you go into it and you know your 100,000 turn to 200,000 and you pull it, and you go and shell out that 200,000, then
what have you really gained? Like,
I think the truth is that, you know, people always say the rich always get richer and the poor always get poorer, and that is a fact. And the reason is, it is easier for a man with $1 million to turn that $1 million into $1.1 million. It's easy for you to have a lot of money and make more money on it. But it's hard for a man with $100 to turn that into $1 million, and it's hard for him to turn it into 110 because he has to consume from that money over and over again. So it is challenging, but you have to think long term, invest in things that you believe in, that you know, that you understand, and think long term. And that's the only way that you can, you know, break through that barrier and get the financial freedom. Find people that you know that are successful, ask them questions. What's the blueprint? How do I get to
How do you do it?
Yeah,
but I mean, and a lot of people are afraid to ask that question. I was talking to a bridge of mine, Ramon, who owns Father Bull, and the man was saying that's one thing he's never afraid to ask. And say, oh, if you were doing something that I want to know, a lot of people tend to make them pride get in the way and all them things. No, I'm going to ask you. And I would appreciate if you tell me, but I'm not going to make it be a situation where me never ask. Because there's a lot that we can teach each other and a lot of mistakes that other people make that you can avoid. Granted, everybody have to kind of go through their own journey, but if a man go through it 10 times already and goes, yo, just don't do that, just try this instead. Just take it from me. I mean, you can go ahead and do that, but trust me, it has saved so much time and so much effort in a lot of people, because we all got it wrong at some point.
Yeah,
we all
true.
invested in things that we thought were going to be the next best thing and so amazing.
Look, if you start 10 business, 9.5
of them probably are going to fail, bro. I mean, but it comes back to the whole risk perspective thing. Because, we all see those posts on Instagram and the motivation talking about how much shots Michael Jordan missed and how many times he had to take game-winning shot. But if you really want to apply yourself to anything, it's going to require you to be
risk. Take some risk.
You go take some risk, and you're going to. First of all, if you're not passionate about it too, don't just do it for doing its sake. That's one thing that I will tell a man, because it will be so easy to get swayed from that. Like the first thing that go wrong, you'll be like, all right, cool, I knew it wasn't gonna work, I'm gone again. No, you can't take that road.
And for persons who are listening, I want to leave a gem with them, right? And that gem is, if you don't have the capital to start a business, you might have to borrow that money to start a business. And you might have to take the chances of starting a business that fails and ending up with that debt to repay. Right. But that's the way that you break that cycle. And if you look at all of these successful people, I mean, Trump said he get a small loan of $1 million US. The fact is that he got a loan.
Exactly. And so did Bezos, who got the 30 grand from parents and everything there.
So if you don't have a parent to give you, or a family or a friend to give you some money to, do a startup, you might have to just get a job, get a bank loan, and while you're working on your business to get it started. So I mean, it's all about risk. You have to have the appetite for it. It's not going to be easy. It takes a lot of mental strength. I was listening to a program the other day, and the guy says, hey, I'm a successful businessman and I have all of these things, but nobody told me that it comes with, me taking prescription drugs because I'm so stressed out.
Exactly.
You understand? So, you might see a person driving in a nice car and you say, hey, whoa, we make it, but he has to keep on working hard, in terms of maintaining it, and
you don't get it and stop. Like there's a lot of people that I know that they're making money, but they're depressed.
Yeah.
they have anxiety issues, and there's some things that are
easy journey.
It's not an easy journey. They've lost friends and they knew they were wrong in certain, but they was like they were just so focused on that at the time, and if there's anything that they could change about that, they'd be like, I can try and fix it later on, but I was just so zoned in about it.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's not a glamorous road for a lot of people. So when people come to you and they say things like, they want to do this, I turn to them all the time and say, is this really what you want? Because it sounds glamorous on paper to say, you know what, I'm going to do this and I'm going to drive a Benz or a Porsche a little bit, but the road between there and there is not an easy one. So
I've had times when I've said to myself, right now, I'm just going to go get a job. I know many CEOs have said that. We have a mutual friend that said that to me very recently. I was like, that's it. I'm just gonna go get a job. I'm smart. I'm smart, and people would love me to work for them. I'm gonna go get a job. And then you sit there yourself and you be like, 10 weeks into this, you'll be like, nah. Not coming.
I can tell you something about this business specifically, this one we're sitting in now, because I intend to open other field rooms in Miami or New York, but I want to get this one right. And initially I was saying, okay, so that side would have been just barbers and this side is the spa side. I tried at least 8 different ways to get the spa side to work. And I tried to get reliable people. Is a very hard thing to get to. And I eventually came to the point where I'm like, okay, I've tried, exhausted everything over the last year and a half with this. Maybe I need to take a different direction with this and I can delay this. Because a lot of people tend to look at it and say, you don't necessarily have a bad idea, The idea is not bad. Sometimes the application or where you use it or when you use it is very important. The when is probably like the timing of it is
I'm going straight barber.
Yeah, man,
I'm not ready for this barber.
Yeah, man. This one is not for this one. I'm gonna keep the concept and have the blueprint on paper, and the next one, boom, I got slap. Because then you realize that timing is so important. You can have a thought that is so far ahead of itself, or something that is not right for this specific country or location that you're in, and you know that. There's certain things you do in Guyana that you're probably not going to do in Jamaica.
And it takes guts again to say to yourself, this is not working out, let me just cut it here and move on. A lot of people hold on to something that's not working.
It takes a big man to come, or a big person I should say, to come up with something that they genuinely believe 200% was going to work, and then realize down the line, all right, maybe that wasn't the gem at the time. We're going to wheel and come again. Because you have to, because if you're not coming out, if you decide not to try again, then that's when I think you've genuinely failed at this, isn't it?
True.
So,